Amina woke up early that morning with the sun streaming through her bedroom window. She had a long day ahead of her. She was a commercial airline pilot, one of the few women who flew big airplanes across Africa and Europe. Her job was important and she took it very seriously. Today she would fly from Lagos to Paris on a business-class flight. This was a route she had flown many times before, but today felt different. Today something would happen that would change everything. Amina got out of bed and went to her small kitchen to make a cup of strong coffee. She sat at her dining table and looked out at the Lagos skyline. The city was already busy even in the early morning. Car horns were honking, people were moving about on the streets below, and the air felt hot and humid. She thought about her sister Chidi and her brother-in-law Kofi. She wondered how they were doing. Kofi was always traveling for business, and Amina sometimes worried that her sister got lonely when he was away. But Chidi seemed happy enough. At least that is what Amina thought. Amina finished her coffee and got ready for work. She put on her pilot uniform, which was crisp and clean. She looked at herself in the mirror and felt proud. Not many women from her family had become pilots. Her mother, Mama Adekunle, had always told her to work hard and follow her dreams, and Amina had done exactly that. Now, at 35 years old, she was respected in her field and loved her job. She arrived at Lagos International Airport 2 hours before her flight. The airport was already full of people rushing around. There were travelers with big suitcases, families saying goodbye to loved ones, and business people in expensive suits checking their phones. Amina went straight to the crew area where she met her team. There were 2 flight attendants named Age and Bola, and a co-pilot named Marcus. They all greeted each other warmly and began preparing for the flight. Amina walked through the airplane before passengers boarded. She always did this. It was important to check that everything was ready. She walked through the first-class cabin, and then the business-class cabin. The seats were comfortable with lots of space. There were nice pillows and blankets. Everything looked perfect. The flight attendants had arranged the snacks and drinks nicely. Everything was in order. Then the passengers began to board. Business-class passengers always board first. Amina stood near the cockpit and watched people come on. There were many business people. Some were talking on their phones. Some were reading newspapers. They all looked important and busy. Amina did not pay special attention to any of them. She was thinking about the flight ahead and making sure everything was safe. But then someone caught her eye. She saw a familiar face. It was Kofi. Her brother-in-law Kofi. He was walking down the aisle with a woman beside him. Amina felt surprised. She had not expected to see him on her flight. What was he doing here? But more than that, she noticed the woman. The woman was very beautiful and elegant. She wore a nice blue dress and had long black hair. She was not anyone Amina recognized. Amina watched as Kofi and the woman walked to their seats. They were sitting in seats 1A and 1B in the front of the business-class cabin. Kofi sat by the window, and the woman sat in the middle seat next to him. Amina felt something strange in her chest. It was not a good feeling. As she watched, Kofi put his hand on the woman's arm. It was not a normal touch between strangers. It was soft and gentle. The kind of touch that meant something more. The woman smiled at Kofi and he smiled back. They looked at each other for a moment, and then the woman laughed. She touched his face with her hand. Amina's heart stopped. She knew what she was seeing. This was not a business meeting. This was something else. Amina turned away quickly. She did not want Kofi to see her watching them. She went back to the cockpit and sat in her pilot seat. But her mind was not on the flight. Her mind was on what she had just seen. Kofi was with another woman. Not his wife. Not Amina's sister Chidi. Another woman. Chidi had been married to Kofi for 3 years. Amina remembered their wedding. It was a big celebration with many family members and friends. Chidi had looked so happy and beautiful in her white wedding dress. Kofi had promised to love her and take care of her. They had said their vows in front of God and their families. Everything had seemed so perfect. But now, Kofi was on Amina's airplane with a strange woman, holding her hand and looking at her with love in his eyes. Amina felt angry and sad at the same time. She felt angry at Kofi for betraying her sister. She felt sad for Chidi, who did not know what her husband was doing. The flight took off smoothly. Amina was a good pilot, and even though her heart was breaking, she did her job well. She guided the airplane up into the sky. Below them, Lagos grew smaller and smaller. Soon they were flying over the ocean. The sky was blue and beautiful, but Amina could not enjoy it. During the flight, Amina had to walk through the cabin sometimes to check on things. Each time she passed seats 1A and 1B, she tried not to look at Kofi and the woman. But she could not help herself. She saw them holding hands again. She saw them laughing together. She saw the woman lean her head on Kofi's shoulder. She saw them share food from the same plate. They were acting like lovers, not like strangers or business partners. Hours passed. The flight seemed to last forever. Amina served drinks and meals to the passengers, but she felt like she was moving in a dream. Her hands moved, but her mind was somewhere else. She was thinking about Chidi. She was thinking about how to tell her sister what she had seen. She was thinking about whether she should tell her at all. But she knew she had to. Chidi deserved to know the truth about her husband. When the airplane finally landed in Paris, Amina felt relieved. The flight was over. She had made it safely across the ocean. But now she had a bigger problem. She had to decide what to do about what she had seen. She had to decide whether to tell Chidi about Kofi and the mysterious woman on the business class flight. As the passengers left the airplane, Amina watched Kofi and the woman stand up together. They were still holding hands. They walked down the aisle together and then they disappeared into the airport. Amina knew one thing for sure. Her life had changed today. Her sister's life would change too once she learned the truth. And it all started on this flight to Paris. Amina called her sister Chidi the day after the flight. Her voice was quiet and careful. She said, "Chidi, I need to see you. It is important. Can we meet somewhere?" Chidi could hear something serious in Amina's voice. She knew her sister well. Amina was not someone who called about nothing. Amina did not like to talk about things that were not important. So Chidi said yes. They arranged to meet at a quiet cafe in Victoria Island, a nice area of Lagos with many restaurants and coffee shops. Chidi spent the whole morning thinking about why Amina wanted to meet her. She felt nervous. What could be so serious? She tried to think of reasons. Had something happened to their mother? Had Amina lost her job? Had there been an accident? Her mind went to many dark places. By the time she got ready to go to the cafe, Chidi's heart was beating fast. She arrived at the cafe early. It was called The Quiet Corner. It was a small place with just a few tables outside under big umbrellas. The umbrellas were colorful and kept the sun off the tables. Chidi sat at a table near the edge where few people could see them. She ordered a cold drink and waited. Her hands were shaking a little bit. When Amina arrived, she looked tired. She had just come back from her Paris flight that morning, and she had not slept. She looked worried. She hugged Chidi and sat down across from her at the small table. For a moment, neither of them said anything. They just sat there. The noise of Lagos traffic moved around them. People walked past on the street. Car horns honked in the distance. Finally, Amina spoke. "Chidi, I do not know how to tell you this. But I have to tell you. You are my sister and I love you. So I have to be honest with you even if it hurts." Chidi felt her stomach drop. She knew something was wrong. She could feel it in the way Amina was speaking. "Just tell me," Chidi said. "Just say it." Amina took a deep breath. "On my flight to Paris yesterday, I saw Kofi." Chidi looked confused for a moment. "Kofi? My Kofi? On your flight?" "Yes," Amina said. "He was in business class. Seats 1A and 1B. "That is good," Chidi said. "He told me he was going to Paris for business. Maybe I can ask him to bring me something nice from there." But Amina shook her head slowly. "Chidi, he was not alone." Chidi's face went very still. "What do you mean?" "He was with a woman," Amina said quietly. "A beautiful woman. She was not a friend, Chidi. She was not a business partner. They were together." Chidi stared at her sister. For a long moment she said nothing. Her face became pale. Her hands, which had been shaking a little, now shook more. "No," she said. "No, that is not true. You must be mistaken. You must have seen someone who looked like Kofi." "It was him," Amina said. She reached across the table and held Chidi's hand. "I know my brother-in-law, Chidi. It was definitely him. And I am very sorry, but what I saw, they were holding hands. They were laughing together." The woman put her head on his shoulder. "They were acting like people who love each other." Chidi pulled her hand away. She stood up from the table. She looked angry now. "How dare you come here and tell me lies about my husband? How dare you? Kofi is a good man. He is loyal. He loves me. We are building a house together. We are planning to have children. You are lying to me, Amina. You are lying." People at other tables turned to look at them. A waiter came over to see if everything was okay. Amina waved him away politely. She spoke to Chidi very calmly and quietly. "Sit down, please. I know this is hard to hear. But I am not lying to you. Why would I lie to you? Why would I come here and tell you something so terrible if it was not true?" Chidi sat back down slowly. Her anger seemed to drain away and now she just looked sad. She started to cry quietly. "Tell me everything," she said. "Tell me exactly what you saw." So Amina told her sister everything. She described the woman in detail. She described how Kofi looked at her. She described the way they touched each other. She described how they shared food and laughed together during the flight. She described how they held hands when they got off the airplane. She told Chidi that this woman seemed to know Kofi very well. They were comfortable with each other in a way that showed they had been together many times before. As Amina spoke, Chidi's face changed. The anger came back, but it was a different kind of anger now. It was the anger of someone who suddenly understood something terrible. It was the anger of betrayal. "How long?" Chidi asked. "How long do you think this has been happening?" "I do not know," Amina said. But the way they acted together, it was not new. It was not something that just started. They knew each other very well. Chidi put her face in her hands. "Oh God," she said. "Oh God. This explains so much." "What do you mean?" Amina asked. Chidi looked up. Her eyes were red from crying. "Kofi has been different lately. He is always on his phone. He does not let me touch his phone. He gets nervous when it rings. He says it is just work, but he always goes to another room to talk. He tells me he is going to Paris for business every month. Every single month, Amina. I thought it was good for his business. I was happy because he was making money for us. I was happy because I thought he was working hard to build our future." Amina listened to her sister. She felt sad for her. She felt angry at Kofi for hurting her sister. Chidi continued. "And he is distant with me now. He does not touch me the way he used to. He does not kiss me when he comes home. He just comes home late and he goes to bed. He is always tired. He says it is because of work, but now I understand. He is tired because he is living a double life. He is tired because he is with another woman." The waiter came back and asked if they wanted more drinks. They both said yes without really thinking about it. They sat in silence for a while. Around them, the cafe continued. People talked and laughed. Music played softly. But for Amina and Chidi, the world seemed to have stopped. Finally, Chidi said, "We need to tell Mama. Mama will know what to do." That evening, Amina and Chidi went to their mother's house. Mama Adekunle was in her garden, watering her plants. She was an old woman now, but she still moved with strength. When she saw her daughters' faces, she knew something was wrong. She put down her watering can and sat with them in the living room. Chidi told her mother everything. She cried as she spoke. Mama Adekunle listened carefully without interrupting. When Chidi finished, Mama was quiet for a long time. Then she said something that Chidi would never forget. She said, "A truth spoken without love is just cruelty, my daughter. But a truth hidden to protect comfort is betrayal of a different kind. Your sister did the right thing by telling you. Now you must decide what you will do with this truth." Chidi spent 2 weeks thinking about what to do. She could not eat much. She could not sleep well. She would lie in bed at night and listen to Kofi breathing beside her, and she would feel sick in her stomach. She wanted to confront him immediately, but Amina advised her to wait. Amina said, "We need proof, Chidi. We need to know exactly what is happening before we say anything to him." So Chidi decided to hire a private investigator. Her friend at work recommended someone named Chioma. Chioma was a tough woman in her 50s who had been investigating crimes and lies for 25 years. She had investigated many cases of unfaithful husbands in Lagos. She knew all the tricks that men used to hide their secrets. Chidi met Chioma at an office in a tall building in Lekki. The office was small but professional. There were pictures on the walls of Chioma with famous people and newspaper headlines about cases she had solved. Chioma was a strong-looking woman with short hair and intelligent eyes. When Chidi told her story, Chioma listened without making any judgments. When Chidi finished, Chioma said, "I will find out everything. This kind of case I have done it many times. Leave it to me." Chioma started her investigation right away. She followed Kofi when he left work. She took pictures of him. She watched where he went. She talked to people who worked with him. She looked at his bank records with help from contacts she had. She checked travel records. She looked at hotel bookings. She did everything carefully and legally. Within 2 weeks, Chioma had found important information. She called Chidi and asked her to come to her office again. When Chidi arrived, Chioma showed her a thick folder full of documents and pictures. "Your husband is having an affair," Chioma said bluntly. "But it is worse than just an affair, Chidi. This is a serious situation. He is stealing from you." Chidi felt her heart drop. "Stealing?" she asked. Chioma opened the folder and showed Chidi pictures. There were pictures of Kofi at the airport. There were pictures of him with a beautiful woman at restaurants in Paris. There were pictures of them holding hands in parks. There were pictures of them going into a building together. This woman is named Isabel, Chioma said. She is French Ivorian. She is a businesswoman. She works in fashion and luxury goods. Your husband has been visiting her in Paris every month for exactly 1 year. I have checked his travel records. Every month he says he is going for business, and every month he goes to Paris and stays for 3 to 4 days with this woman. Chioma showed Chidi bank records. She showed her hotel bookings. She showed her credit card statements. She showed her flight tickets. Look at this, Chioma said, pointing to a piece of paper. He has booked an apartment in Paris. It is registered under a fake name, but I found it. He has been paying rent there for a year. This is not a small thing, Chidi. This is planned. This is organized. This is not an accident. Chidi looked at the pictures and the documents. Her hands were shaking. She felt like she was going to be sick. Chioma continued. But there is more. I looked at your bank accounts. I looked at your family savings. I looked at the money your grandmother left you in her will. Chidi, your husband has been taking money from these accounts. Not all at once. He takes small amounts so it would not be noticed. But over the year, he has taken almost 2 million naira from your accounts. 2 million naira? Chidi whispered. That is so much money. Yes, Chioma said. I also found out what he is doing with the money. He is giving it to Isabel. He is helping her start a fashion business. He has invested in her company. He is buying her gifts. He is paying for her apartment. He is paying for everything. And he is using your money to do it, Chidi. Your money. Your family's money. Money that your grandmother worked her whole life for. Chidi felt tears running down her face. She felt angry and sad at the same time. She felt betrayed in a way she could not even describe. She had trusted Kofi. She had loved him. She had given him everything. And he had stolen from her. He had lied to her. He had made a fool of her. There is more, Chioma said gently. I found out that Kofi's business is not doing well. He told you it was doing well, yes? He told you he was making lots of money? Yes, Chidi said. He told me the business was growing. He said we would be very rich soon. This is not true, Chioma said. His business is failing. He owes money to many people. He has large debts. His business is almost bankrupt. This is why he needed your money, Chidi. He was using your family's savings and your inheritance to pay his debts and to support Isabel. He was using you without you knowing it. Chidi put her head down on the table. She felt broken. Everything she thought was true was a lie. Everything she believed about her marriage was false. Chioma put a hand on Chidi's shoulder. I'm sorry, Chidi. I know this is very hard. But you needed to know the truth. Now you can make decisions about your life based on what is real, not on lies. What should I do? Chidi asked quietly. First, you should talk to a lawyer, Chioma said. You should protect your money and your property. You should get copies of all these documents. The lawyer will need them. Second, you should tell your family. You should not carry this alone. Over the next few days, Chidi told her mother and Amina everything that Chioma had found. Mama Adekunle was very angry when she heard that Kofi had stolen money from Chidi's inheritance. She said it was not just about love and marriage anymore. It was also about crime. It was about theft. Amina helped her sister find a good lawyer named Mr. Adeyemi. Mr. Adeyemi was a serious man who had handled many divorce cases. When Chidi told him everything and showed him Chioma's evidence, he said, You have a very strong case, Chidi. This man has committed theft. He has committed fraud. He has betrayed your trust in the worst way. The courts will see this. Chidi also had to make a difficult decision. Should she confront Kofi with this information? Should she show him what she knew? Her lawyer advised her to be careful. He said, You should protect yourself first. Get your money protected. Make sure your property is safe. Then we will show him what we know. So Chidi went to her bank and moved all her remaining money to a new account that only she could access. She spoke to a lawyer about protecting her property and her belongings. She made copies of all the documents that Chioma had found. She locked these copies in a safe place where Kofi could not find them. Then finally she was ready to confront her husband. She knew that her life was about to change forever. But she also knew that she had the truth on her side. She had evidence. She had her family's support. She was ready to fight for herself and for justice. Chidi waited for the right moment to confront Kofi. She wanted to do it when they were alone at home. She did not want to do it at work or in public. This was a private matter and it needed to be handled privately. She waited until a Saturday morning when Kofi was home and relaxed. Amina came to the house to support her sister, but she waited in another room so Chidi and Kofi could talk alone first. Chidi sat in the living room and waited for Kofi to come down from upstairs. When he came down, he was wearing casual clothes and looked happy. He kissed her on the cheek and said, "Good morning, my love. Did you sleep well?" His voice was warm and familiar. It made Chidi's heart hurt even more because she knew that this warmth was fake. It was all a lie. "We need to talk," Chidi said. She tried to keep her voice steady, but it was shaking. Kofi smiled. "Of course we can talk. What is wrong? You look sad." Chidi took out the folder that Chioma had given her. She opened it and showed Kofi the pictures. She showed him the pictures of him with Isabel in Paris. She showed him the pictures of them holding hands and kissing. She showed him the pictures of them going into the apartment building together. Kofi's face went white. For a moment he could not say anything. He just stared at the pictures. Then he said, "These pictures, they are not what they look like." "Really?" Chidi said. Her voice was cold now. "Because they look like pictures of you with another woman. They look like pictures of you cheating on me." Kofi stood up from the chair. He was getting nervous. "Chidi, listen to me. There is an explanation for this. It is not what you think. This woman, she is just a business partner. We have a business together, and sometimes we meet in Paris to discuss business matters." "You are lying," Chidi said. She showed him more documents. "I have your bank records, Kofi. I have your hotel bookings. I have your flight tickets. I have evidence of you going to Paris every single month for a year. I have evidence of you renting an apartment there under a fake name. I have evidence of you spending money on this woman. A lot of money. My money." Kofi's face became red. He started to get angry. "How did you get these documents? These are private. You had no right to look at these things. This is my private business, Chidi. You are invading my privacy." "Your private business?" Chidi stood up now too. "This is not just your private business, Kofi. This is our marriage. This is our life together. And you have been lying to me for a year. You have been stealing from me. You have been using my family's money to support this other woman. My inheritance, Kofi. The money my grandmother left me. You stole it." Kofi's anger seemed to deflate a little. He sat back down in the chair. He put his face in his hands. For a moment he said nothing. Then he looked up at Chidi with tears in his eyes. "I'm sorry, Chidi. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. I made a mistake. It was a terrible mistake. But please give me another chance. I love you. I do not want to lose you." His tears seemed real, but Chidi was not moved by them. She had thought about this moment many times over the past 2 weeks. She had thought about what she would say and how she would feel. And she had decided that she could not forgive him. His tears could not change what he had done. "How long have you been with her?" Chidi asked. Kofi looked away. 1 year, he said quietly. "But Chidi, it does not mean anything. She means nothing to me. You are the one I love. You are my wife." 1 year, Chidi repeated. 1 whole year. "And you never once thought about telling me the truth? You never once thought about how this would hurt me?" "I knew you would be hurt," Kofi said. "That is why I did not tell you. I wanted to protect you from pain." "Protect me?" Chidi laughed bitterly. "You were not protecting me, Kofi. You were protecting yourself. You were lying to me so you could have what you wanted. You wanted this other woman, so you took her. You wanted to build your business with her money, so you took my money. You wanted to keep both of us at the same time, so you lied." Kofi started to cry harder. He reached out his hand to Chidi. "Please, Chidi. I am begging you. Do not do this. Do not leave me. We can work through this. We can go to a marriage counselor. We can fix our relationship. Please do not give up on us." Amina came into the room at this moment. She had been listening from the other room. She stood beside her sister and put her arm around her. "She has made her decision," Amina said. "And I support her decision completely." Kofi looked shocked to see Amina. "You knew about this?" he asked. "I am the one who saw you on the airplane," Amina said. "I am the one who told Chidi about you and this woman. And I am glad I did. My sister deserves to know the truth about who you really are." Kofi stood up. He was angry again now. He pointed at Amina. "You have no right to interfere in our marriage. This is between Chidi and me. You have ruined my life. You have destroyed my family." "You destroyed your own family," Chidi said quietly. "I did not do this. You did this." 3 days later, Chidi's lawyer, Mr. Adeyemi, sent a letter to Kofi. The letter said that Chidi was starting divorce proceedings. The letter explained that she was claiming that Kofi had committed theft and fraud by stealing her money and property. The letter said that the divorce would be contested, and that Chitty would be seeking full compensation for the money that had been stolen from her. Kofi's lawyer responded immediately. Kofi denied everything. He said that the money he took was just a loan. He said that he had permission to use Chitty's accounts. He said that he loved his wife and wanted to make the marriage work. He said that Amina was lying about seeing him on the airplane. But Kofi's lawyer did not have any evidence to support these claims. Chioma had done her work very well. She had documented everything carefully. She had obtained bank records and travel records legally. She had taken pictures that clearly showed Kofi's affair. She had evidence of the stolen money. She had evidence of the fake apartment. She had evidence of everything. The divorce case went to court. Kofi tried many things to win the case. He tried to say that Chitty had given him permission to use her bank accounts. He tried to say that the pictures were fake. He tried to say that his business partner, Isabel, was just a friend. But none of these excuses worked. The judge listened to all the evidence. The judge looked at the bank records and the travel records. The judge looked at the pictures. The judge read Chioma's investigation report. The judge saw that Kofi had been lying and stealing. After several months, the judge made a decision. The judge said that Chitty and Kofi were officially divorced. The judge said that Kofi had to pay back all the money that he had stolen from Chitty. The judge said that Kofi had to pay additional money as punishment for fraud and theft. The judge also said that Kofi had to sell the house he owned and give half the money to Chitty as part of the settlement. Kofi tried to appeal the decision, but his appeal was rejected. He had to accept the court's decision. He had to give Chitty back her money. He had to pay the additional punishment. He had to sell his house. Chitty felt a strange mixture of emotions when the judge made the final decision. She felt relieved that it was finally over. She felt sad that her marriage had ended this way. She felt angry at Kofi for what he had done. But most of all, she felt strong. She had fought for herself. She had stood up for the truth. She had won. And now, finally, she could start to rebuild her life. 1 year had passed since the divorce was finalized. 1 year since Chitty's life had been turned upside down. 1 year since she discovered that everything she thought was true was actually a lie. But 1 year had also brought many changes. Good changes. Changes that Chitty could never have imagined when she was sitting in that cafe with her sister Amina, hearing the terrible truth about her husband. Chitty had thrown herself into her work at the hotel. After the divorce, she needed something to focus on. She needed something to make her feel like her life still had purpose and meaning. The hotel became her escape. She worked long hours. She trained new staff. She improved the customer service. She made new plans for how to make the hotel better. Her boss, Mr. Okafor, noticed how hard she was working. He noticed how dedicated she was. He noticed how she had changed from a good employee into an excellent employee. About 6 months after the divorce, he called her into his office. "Chitty," he said, "I want to promote you. I want you to be the regional manager for all our hotels across West Africa. This is a big responsibility, but I believe you are the right person for this job. You have shown me that you are strong, dedicated, and intelligent. I want you to lead our team." Chitty was shocked. She had not expected this. She had been working hard, but she had not been working hard to get a promotion. She had just been working hard to forget about her pain. "Are you sure?" she asked Mr. Okafor. "Yes," he said. "I'm very sure. You have earned this, Chitty. You deserve this." When Chitty told her family about the promotion, they were all very happy. Mama Adekunle cried tears of joy. Amina hugged her sister tightly. Even the extended family members who had gossiped about her divorce now came to congratulate her. The promotion changed how people saw Chitty. She was no longer the woman whose husband cheated on her. She was now the successful woman who became a regional manager. With her new salary and the money she received from the divorce settlement, Chitty decided to buy an apartment. She wanted a place that was completely hers. A place where she did not have any memories of Kofi. A place where she could start fresh. She found a beautiful apartment in Lekki. It was on the 15th floor of a tall building. It had a big living room with floor-to-ceiling windows that looked out at the Lagos skyline. It had 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a modern kitchen, and a large balcony. When Chitty first saw the apartment, she knew it was the one. It felt like it was waiting for her. The day Chitty got the keys to her new apartment, she felt like a different person. She walked into the empty rooms and imagined how she would decorate them. She imagined her life in this space. She imagined all the good things that would happen here. Amina helped her sister decorate the apartment. They spent weekends shopping for furniture and decorations. They painted the walls in soft colors that Chitty loved. They chose beautiful curtains and rugs. They hung pictures on the walls. They filled the apartment with plants and flowers. With every piece of furniture they added, with every decoration they hung, Chitty felt more and more like the apartment was truly hers. Unlike the house she had shared with Kofi, where everything was chosen to please him or to match his taste, this apartment was completely Chitty. The living room had bright colors because Chitty loved bright colors. The kitchen was modern and efficient because Chitty loved cooking. One bedroom became an office where Chitty could work from home. Another bedroom became a guest room for when Amina or Mama Adekunle stayed over. The third bedroom Chitty left empty for now. She did not know what she would use it for, but she liked having an empty room. It represented possibility. It represented a future that was not yet written. On the day that Chitty moved into her apartment, Mama Adekunle came to bless it. She walked through every room and said prayers of protection and happiness. She said, "This is your home now, Chitty. This is a place where you can be yourself. This is a place where you can heal. This is a place where you can build a new life." Chitty's relationship with Amina became even stronger during this time. Before the divorce, Amina and Chitty were close sisters. But now they were best friends. They talked every day. They saw each other several times a week. Amina would come to Chitty's apartment and they would cook dinner together and talk about everything. They would talk about work. They would talk about their dreams. They would talk about their fears. They would talk about men and dating and love. They would laugh together and cry together. Amina was proud of her sister. She would tell people, "My sister is the strongest woman I know. She faced the worst betrayal and instead of breaking, she became stronger. She became better." One evening, Chitty and Amina were sitting on Chitty's balcony, looking out at the Lagos lights. The city was beautiful at night. All the lights twinkled like stars. "Do you remember the cafe?" Amina asked. "The day I told you about seeing Kofi on the airplane?" "Of course I remember," Chitty said. "I thought my life was over that day." "But it was not over," Amina said. "It was just beginning. Look at you now, Chitty. Look at everything you have accomplished. You have a promotion. You have your own apartment. You have your money back. You are happy." "I am happy," Chitty said. She was quiet for a moment. "I know that sounds strange. I went through something terrible, but I am genuinely happy now. Happier than I was when I was married to Kofi, actually. I did not realize how unhappy I was until I became happy again." "That is because you are living an honest life now," Amina said. "You are not living a lie anymore. You know who you are and you are proud of who you are." 6 months after Chitty moved into her apartment, she organized a dinner party. She invited her mother, Amina, her close friends from work and some family members. She cooked all the food herself. She decorated her apartment beautifully. She wanted to celebrate her new life. During the dinner, people congratulated her on her promotion. They told her how happy they were to see her so strong and successful. Some of the women at the dinner, women who had also gone through difficult divorces or betrayals, came to her privately and asked her for advice. They wanted to know how she had become so strong. They wanted to know how she had moved forward. Chitty told them honestly, "I had support from my family, especially my sister Amina. I had a good lawyer. I had evidence of the truth. And most importantly, I made the decision that I would not let what happened to me define me. I decided that I would use this experience to make myself stronger, not weaker." Later that night, after all the guests had left, Chitty and Amina sat together on the balcony again. Chitty looked at her sister and said, "Thank you, Amina. Thank you for having the courage to tell me the truth on that flight. I know it was not easy for you. I know you risked our relationship. But you did it anyway because you love me." Amina took her sister's hand. "That is what sisters do, Chitty. We tell each other the truth even when it is hard. We support each other even when things are difficult. We stand together." As the months went on, Chitty continued to build her new life. She made new friends. She focused on her career. She traveled to different countries for her hotel business. She visited beautiful places. She ate good food. She laughed a lot. She felt free in a way she had never felt before. She still thought about Kofi sometimes. She still felt angry about what he had done. But the anger was not eating her up inside anymore. The pain was not controlling her life anymore. She had forgiven him, not because what he did was okay, but because holding on to the anger was hurting her more than it was hurting him. One day, about a year and a half after the divorce, Chitty ran into Kofi at a shopping mall. He looked different. He looked older and sadder than she remembered. He had lost his house. He had lost his money. He had lost his business. Isabel had left him when he could no longer give her money. When Kofi saw Chitty, he tried to talk to her. He said he was sorry. He said he had made a terrible mistake. He said he regretted everything. Chitty listened to him politely, but she did not feel anything. No anger, no sadness, no love. She felt nothing because she had already let go. "I wish you well, Kofi," she said simply. And she walked away. That evening, Chitty told Amina about the meeting. Amina asked her, "Do you feel sad about seeing him like that?" "No," Chitty said. "I feel free. I finally feel completely free. The past does not have power over me anymore. I am living my life now. I am building my future. And nothing that happened before can change that." Chitty looked out at the Lagos skyline from her balcony. The city lights were beautiful. The future was beautiful. She was beautiful. She was strong. She was independent. She was exactly who she was meant to be. And Amina stood beside her sister, proud and happy, knowing that she had played a small part in helping her sister find her way back to herself. The two sisters stood together in the night, two African women who had faced hard truths and emerged not just surviving but truly thriving. They had integrity. They had strength. They had each other. And that was everything.